How is he, Doctor? Tell me, how bad is it? Uh huh. Well, I mean, it wasn't my fault. I was taking down NPCs, and he ran across from me, and just a few stray bullets. I mean, he started bleeding like a stuck pig, and I rushed him here. I can't help it if this Predator's Mark build is OP. I'm not going to be held reliable for this because I don't have any insurance. So is he going to survive? Well, let's hope so. But sir, next time when you see somebody firing a gun, don't run toward them, especially if they're running a Predator's Mark build as OP as I am. Ah, kids these days. Anyways, what's up, bros and hoes, or whatever floats you go? It's your boy Relentless, and season's greetings to everyone. I had previously done a Predator's Mark build, and it got good reviews, and overall, I thought it was a great build. Up until now. Um, I'm only missing like one component, and this thing will be min max, but it is so OP and so much better than even the first one. And the other one's got like 900 views, and if you enjoyed and liked it, then smash the thumbs up for this one. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. All support is appreciated, and just let me tell you, you are going to be surprised because I could not believe it myself. I mean, this sucker is almost absolutely min maxed. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. As you already know, 4-piece Predator, specialized and vigorous. Now, I do have the Barrett's chest piece, but for this situation, I prefer the vigorous chest piece. And before I go over anything, I'm going to show you my character stat sheets first. As you can see, it is a crit based build. Crit hit chance 41.5%, that is before pulse. 84% crit hit damage, headshot damage only 55%, and that is using the SMG 9. Only 11% enemy armor damage. Survivability 55.6%. Yes, 55.6%. Now, let's get into the guns. As you can see, it is a converted SMG 9, 18k damage. It's running Unforgiving and Vicious and Fierce, thus it being a crit build. Magazine is 101.5% magazine size, 3% crit chance, 4.8% rate of fire, and yes, it is a purple reflex sight. I haven't found one recently better. I mean, I found some that are better, but it would not fit this current SMG 9. But this did have the crit hit chance and crit hit damage, so I slapped it on there and increased that crit hit chance. Now, I could take off that 6.5% and only deal with 3% and 18% damage, and I will show you here, which could be more viable. But as far as when it comes to skill power, since I'm lacking in that area, even with my low skill power, I'm hitting crit chance cap. I could also go with this one, but it only gives stability and optimal range with that 3%, so it's not too much viable, such as this one. This only gives me headshot damage and crit hit damage, and I'm easily 4%, and I would rather have the more crit hit chance. So therefore, it makes it much more easier to hit the crit chance cap. My other, as you already know, it's my Bay, 18.8k base damage with brutal, responsive, and fierce. 106% magazine size, 4% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, 17.5% headshot damage, 3% crit hit chance, 4% crit hit damage on the large VX1 scope, and on the large muzzle, 17.5% headshot damage, 2.5% crit hit chance, 4% crit hit damage, and 47% reduced threat. On my large underbarrel, 18% crit hit damage, 5% reload speed, and 2.5% stability. Now let's jump right into the gear. I'm running a vigorous chest piece, had an awesome stamina roll, And as you can see, an awesome armor roll with the 9% exotic damage resilience. That brings that total armor up to 3,786. And with ammo capacity and in my mod slots, I have 261 stamina and 271 armor, and also another 261 stamina and 271 armor. Moving on to the mask. The mask, as you can see, crit build, 4% crit hit chance. I prefer in the minor attributes instead of burn resistance, enemy armor damage, but burn resistance, since those pesky flame turrets and fire crisp builds that are out there, this does somewhat help a little bit. But if that was enemy armor damage, it would be almost near perfect. And also, as you can see, I got a good main stat roll on my base armor on my mask, which only goes up to 1,001. And in my mod slot, I have 262 stamina and 272 armor. Moving on to the knee pads. 1259 and firearms, excellent roll there. Major attributes is my armor, 1160, also good. My minor attributes, 11% enemy armor damage, increased kill XP, and bleed resistance. Now, instead of the 48% increased kill XP, preferred something more like burn resistance or disrupt resistance. But, anything will do as long as you have that enemy armor damage in there. Moving on to the backpack. Specialized backpack, also awesome firearms roll at 1245. 946 in armor and 51% ammo capacity. And in my mod slots, 261 stamina and 271 armor. And an additional 2% pulse crit hit damage. Thus, with my base pulse, the reason I opted in for crit hit damage is because with my base pulse, I'm already hitting crit hit chance cap. So the extra additional crit hit damage helps out very well. And also a 5% first aid self heal. Moving on to my gloves, also a good base armor roll on them since it only goes to 1,001 with 994. Also another great firearms roll, 1250 with 860 SMG damage, 5.5% crit hit chance, and 15% crit hit damage. Now you can go with AR damage here, and since the Predator's mark also has a baked in plus 8% extra damage on all assault rifles and SMGs, I myself am more of an SMG player, so I prefer running with SMGs, even though right now mainly players are running ARs because of the enemy armor shred that's baked into them. And as you can see, we all know the talents for Predator's mark, which is 10% reload speed, and as you can see, the plus 8% assault rifle damage and the 8% SMG damage. And the fourth bonus, we all know, hit 10 shots without switching targets to make the target bleed for 50% of the damage already done by those bullets. Moving on to the holster. This is the only, I guess, dink in the armor, as you would call it. As you can see, 1232 firearms, 1259 in stamina, and a measly 1131 in electronics. Unfortunately, I had to roll armor. I got a good roll on the armor, but that is the only chink in the armor when it comes to this build, is that lacking of at least 70 to 80 more in electronics, because I feel that my cutoff rate for any main stat, it has to be at least 1200, or it's just going to become a filler piece. Well, this has been a filler piece for quite some time because I haven't found one any better. It's always come with 2 great main stats and also without armor. Or it has come with great armor and only 1 great main stat with over 1230 or so, and the rest around the 1130s or 1140s. So right now, this is the best option. And then the mod performance slot, I have a 6% first aid self heal. Now, as you can see, like I already went over, it is a crit chance build. With my AR, I'm only critting for 23%, 70% crit damage, and 122% headshot damage. Now let's moving on to my pulse. As you can see, I'm only getting 16.9. And then if you add that to the 47.5% going along with the SMG that I prefer to use with this build, then I'm at my crit chance, and then my crit damage is around 90%. Also, I'm using booster shot with 71.6 K health coming in by way of booster shot, and also the temporary increase in damage and damage resistance that goes along with that. In my talents, as always, I'm running Adrenaline. Use a med kit when not at full health to receive an OP. Dude, really? You're gonna come walk over here and stand in front of me like I'm your best friend? You're not that slick. You're not that cool. So congratulations, and I'm not gonna smack you around just because it's the holiday season. But move the fuck away. Anyways, let's go back over here and check out on the patient. But getting back into the build, you want an SMG with high crit chance. And this is my personal preference because the higher crit chance, the more damage you're going to be inflicting. And the more damage you inflict, the 10 shots that do hit, and if they happen to be mostly crits, then they're going to be bleeding for quite a lot of extra damage. Now, also with this, my other talents that I am running, as you will be able to see, is Shrapnel. Apply bleeding to any target. Triggers a 30% chance to apply the bleed effect to all targets within 10 meters. So if you run up on a group or 2 or 3 and they're grouped together in, that 10 meters, then you bleed one, you bleed them all. They're all stuck pigs. Bleed, bleed, bleed. Yes, yes, yes. Damage, damage, and more damage. Break out the man ponds for all the bleeders. And then also, I'm running Strike Back, Reach-Full Health to reduce active skill cooldowns by 20%. And also, I'm running On the Move. Kill a hostile while moving to reduce incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds. Back to the skills. You already know I'm running Booster Shot and Pulse. And then also, I'm running Tactical Link for the extra damage buff, the weapon RPM buff, and the reload speed buff, which comes in nice and handy, and you can melt a squad like it is nothing with this build. Now, there's different variations in which I'll go over and show you, such as if I chose to run the Barrett's chest piece, as you can see, my DPS, my damage will jump up, but it has a semi-low firearms roll, but most importantly, the armor roll on it is only 2861, and as you can see, the one that I'm using without the additional armor mods in it is already at 3244, so that'll be a drop of 400 armor. So if I did happen to switch this out with the Barrett's chest piece and take out the mods of this, and in turn put the same mods with the stamina and the armor rolls on them, it's going to significantly drop my toughness. Did I not take the other one out? Took the wrong one out. Now, there's other ways you can do this to bring your stamina up. You can re-roll the gloves instead of firearms for stamina. That would also bump it back up to, basically the right same amount where it is. But for those out there that are searching for that mystical unicorn that do not have the Barrett's chest piece, then this build is for you. Just find you a great vigorous chest piece such as this one, 1260 and stamina, and you are good to go. You don't necessarily have to have the Barrett's chest piece, but if you do happen to have a Barrett's chest piece, then it'll make this build even more potent than what it already is because of the talents that it has on it. As far as 2 skills on cooldown gives you an additional armor, which is 10%, and that would put you well over around, I'd say 57 with my current armor mitigation the way it is, if it had the same armor roll as the vigorous chest piece I have on now. Now, if you're able to find also a Predator's Mark backpack that has firearms or stamina, whichever one, and ammo capacity if possible, then you can also opt into some Savage Gloves with get the crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and your weapon type. Now, as you can see, if I opted in for this, my toughness would go through the roof at 482k, and I would still have enough firearms to activate my talents on my guns, which only takes 4790. So anything over 4790, most people like to stack on toughness and stamina on top of that. I prefer a more of a balance because I like to deal out a little more damage than normal, and especially at 18k on an SMG is very nice, and 18.8 if it was in turn instead of SMG damage and assault rifle damage, then this would be around 20k. Now with the Barrett's chest piece, with that 5% additional bonus for when I pop a skill, then that damage will initially go up. Now, since I'm using Pulse, and my base Pulse puts me at crit cap, if I happen to come across a Predator's Mark backpack, which is I do not have, every ones I've gotten has either electronics and no armor, and it's just been a flat bust. It's just like the Bear's chest piece. It's a mystical unicorn that have yet to be found. But if I was able to have that, then yes, I could opt in for the Savage Gloves, and I wouldn't necessarily have to run Pulse, because with the Savage Gloves, add that 7% critical hit chance in to my already 47.5%, and I'm basically only 5 or 6% off crit cap anyways, and then I could go in for a sticky flash to flash the flame turrets. I could run several different options to help out whatever the group that I'm playing with at the current moment. Whatever goes hand in hand with whatever builds or skills that they might be running. So do what you can. Try to min-max, as much as possible. Find the pictures that tell you the base and the highest armor rolls that you can get on each individual gear. I know the mask and the gloves are 1001. The close as you can get to that is possible is great. And the higher the armor mitigation that you have, it will always come in handy. Get it as high as possible. And use at your own discretion. If you like, high firearms such as the way I have mine, more of a balanced. I got 59-31 and 62-16 in toughness. Or if you prefer to stack on and be more tanky and deal less damage, use at your own discretion and conform to the way that your play style. Some people like to dish out more damage. Some, like to do the more cover-based shooter like it's supposed to be. Some like to face tank. Either or. Just play around with it. But this absolutely shreds. It's been fully tested just like my first one, but this one is 20 times better than the original 1.5 Predator's Mark build that I recently done a few weeks ago. And even without the Barrett's chest piece, it is absolute dominates NPCs and people in the Dark Zone. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative. Please leave your comments and suggestions in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys' support. And now I'm going to send you over. See, one clip, Bullet King goes down, and bleed. Bleed. Yes, make you all bleed. Nice little crit chances. Cause I'm Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. And if you're not chewing Big Red, you're a pussy. But anyways, that is the updated Predator's Mark build. It absolutely shreds. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did so, like I mentioned before, ground and pound that thumbs up button. And also, if you just happen to be a passerby and stumbled across my video, a sub will be much appreciated. And any comments, questions, or any other thing that you'd like to see, please leave them in the comment section below. I appreciate all you guys' support. Without you guys, I am nothing, so this is all for you. And we'll see you guys fudging later.